This episode of Meet Me for Coffee is brought to you by Chatter365 at chatter365.com. This amazing app that you need for your phone. Get in touch with your community. Talk to people who speak different languages because it has an auto-translate feature, which means they speak their language, you speak yours. It translates to you in between. There's no running to Google Translate anymore. Download the app right now, wherever you get your apps for your phone. All right, Meet Me for Coffee this week features Kim Coates. You've seen him as Tig Trager in Sons of Anarchy, Declan Gardiner in Bad Blood, one of my favorites, and he's a Redwood original, which is pretty cool. I've seen you in Black Hawk Down, Pearl Harbor, a movie called Grilled, which is one of my favorite movies. Kim, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me, George. This is good. These are good to do in these crazy times, right? It's good to say hi and let people know that you're alive and thinking about everybody. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day. I know you're from Saskatoon. There is a ton of hockey players from that area. Wendell Clark is from Kelvington, one of the craziest fighters I've ever seen.
Could he duke it out or what? And Wendell's not a very big guy. People who know hockey like you and I do. I mean, you know, Bob Probert, who's one of my favorite human beings, and big heart goes out to his family. We lost him way too soon, but Bobby Probert was an incredible fighter. But Wendell, pound for pound, I'm really not sure anyone was tougher than him.
Well, there was a few other people from his town that were just as crazy as him. I can't name them off the top of my head, but they got quite the reputation for some serious brawlers. So if you're playing road hockey in that area, just be careful what you say.
No doubt.
I looked at I saw Grilled once, and for those who don't know what Grilled is, it's a movie. It was after Ray Romano stopped doing Everybody Loves Raymond, wasn't it? It also featured Kevin James. I looked at the casting list. I saw it once when it came out. I can't find it again, but Kevin James is in this movie. Sofia Vergara is in this movie. Burt Reynolds, Michael Rappaport, and you, man. Like, that's quite the cast.
It was great, and unfortunately, no one saw it. Right? It's like one of those. When I got cast in this movie and you saw it, I mean, it was like 3 movies in one, this thing. And the beginning was crazy with Ray and Kevin, and they're selling meat, and they're meat salesmen, and it's hot, and it's LA. And then I show up and all hell breaks loose. And Sophia was my girlfriend in that thing. And Jenny Lewis, and it was just a crazy cast. But it just lost its way, like a lot of these independent films do. You either hit gold or you don't. And Michael Rappaport was completely insane. Burt Reynolds was in it, for heaven's sakes. But Kevin James is my boy, and he and I became good pals from that movie. And I've done a few things with him, and I know I'm going to keep doing things with him. So I'm grateful for that, and I had a lot of fun doing it.
Well, it's a pretty cool movie. A lot of people should try and find it. I don't know where they would be able to find it, but I know Netflix is really lagging up here. We just got Sons of Anarchy. We got all 7.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did, Georgie Porgy.
Damn right.
Pie. You got all the seasons now. There's no just 1, 2, and 3. Let's just get them all on Netflix now. Why not?
It's about time. We're all locked in the house anyway, and they decided to upload all these movies that we wanted to see and shows that we wanted to see over the last 10 years now. So there's a bit of a resurgence with Sons of Anarchy. You know, at that time there was Breaking Bad. What was the other? Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, and Sons of Anarchy. Those 4. And I just want to ask you, auditioning for the part of Tig Trager, like, how'd that happen? Were you offered the part right away, or did you go in an audition for this?
No, in fact, it's funny. I probably shouldn't talk about this too long because Theo Rossi, my boy from that show who played Juice, he's got his own podcast like you do, and he's rocking it like you are. And we're doing these Reaper reviews now on Theo's podcast called Theory, Theo Re. And we're going to be talking about the pilot mid-August here and how it all happened. But I will tell you this. Everybody had to audition for that show. Everybody. Maybe not Katie Seagal because she was sleeping with the creator. So we're not sure Katie had to, but I can tell you this: there was a lot of people scratching their head when they went. Katie Seagal is going to be playing the biggest matriarch, the biggest old lady in the history of bikerdom. I'm sure people went, "What? What?" No one could have done what she did. She was that amazing on that show, right? So,
and there was other actors too. That the one girl, what's her name? Is it Drea? She jumped from The Sopranos to
Drea Di Matteo, yeah, she was amazing. They all were, right? All the women were so strong and so talented on that show. They were tougher than half the guys in that show, maybe tougher than all of us. But for me, George, they had already shot the pilot. I went in, I auditioned for Clay. I was too young. I auditioned for Bobby. I wasn't quite right. So I went on my way and I wished them all the best. And 5 weeks go by and I get a call. I'm on the golf course. I don't have my phone on. Got 18 messages from my agents, my managers, my wife. And I guess they decided that morning to reshoot the pilot with a new Clay. There was no Tig in the original show. So they decided to change things up, and they cast Ron Perlman that morning. And by the time I went and saw Kurt Sutter, it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I had short hair. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I wasn't into Sons of Anarchy anymore at all. That was like 6 weeks ago that I auditioned. And essentially he said, we'd love you to play this guy called Tig Trager. And I said, well, can you show me something? And he said, we really don't have much to show you. We're just writing him now. And I went, well, I really can't unless you show me something. He showed me one scene that he had written. And it wasn't even for the pilot. It was for the next show. And it was dark and funny and twisted and psychotic. And I remember going to Kurt, it's not for me. Thanks, man. But I'm really careful with my bad boys, and that, the thought of playing someone like this, it's too much for me to wrap my head around. And he goes, listen to me. This guy, yeah, he's going to be crazy. Yeah, he's going to be a bit twisted, but he's going to turn out to be one of the moral compasses of the club. He's going to be funny. He's going to cry. He's going to lose people that are dear to him. He's going to protect people that are dear to him. So he's not just like, he's going to be well-rounded. So please. And they ended up signing me that night about 10 o'clock at night. And George, I got up at 4:30 the next day, went in for a costume fitting. I'm on my Harley. Oh, I'm walking out the door, by the way, with Kurt Sutter the night before. And Sutter goes, you ride, right? I go, fuck yeah. Oh, can I swear?
Sure.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. So yeah, I showed up, threw on some jeans. Kelly Joan, the designer who really figured me out after like 4 or 5 episodes. She really got Tig's look together, and I came up with the bangles around my wrist and all the rings, and I had fun playing him. But that's how it all happened. So it was just a fluke of something that they wanted me to do this. They were reshooting the pilot, and I came along for the ride, and that was a 7-year ride, man. That was an epic show to be on.
They better have given you a bike and a cut after all this too.
They did.
Awesome.
They
fucking
did,
awesome,
George.
man.
You know everything, George. You don't even have to ask. You know what's going on.
I try and know what's going on, but like, let's talk about acting. I mean, you've played many various roles. There's a lot of actors that get stuck, like George Costanza, Jason Alexander, get stuck with that. You can't really get another role because they always remember him as Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
You fall in a very different position. Like you have a great role in Sons of Anarchy, which is basically reprised now because we can now see it in Canada, but it fits you perfectly. Like
Thanks.
that role fits you perfectly, and people love you, man. Like it's not a George Costanza thing. It's awesome because like, how'd you get in the headspace of becoming Tig? Like, how do you
That's
get?
that's a great question, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, George. That's one of the reasons why I really wasn't looking to do a regular on a TV show for years of my career.
Absolutely.
Because I really was a movie guy and a guest star on a TV show guy, right? I never really wanted to be that regular on a TV show because I just kept wanting to do movies and coming from the stage like I did. But Tig, man, I mean, I trusted Sutter, and he delivered. And none of us knew who was going to die, when we were going to die, if we live, all that stuff. So I learned a lot about television, and I had no idea about the power of TV. I remember, I'm sure you do too, you're a young guy, but I remember when The Sopranos started in that mid-late 90s, right? Jimmy Galdafini, another one. God bless. He went way too young too. That show, for me, I don't watch a lot of TV. I go to movies. I'm pretty busy these days, so I don't see as much as I should or want to. But I remember seeing that show, and that music came up, and David Chase and Galdafini and all those guys and women on that show. That blew my mind. That was the beginning of me going, maybe TV, if it's the right thing, and cable for me was the right thing. I'm much more of a character actor, as you know, with all the stuff I've done and all the ups and downs that have come along with it. Of getting gigs and not getting gigs and getting gigs and not getting gigs. Sons blew my mind because I got to play that guy, and he evolved with the show all 7 years. Tig Trager did, and I got to change him up and yet have a core that Kurt and I found together. And I'm forever grateful to him and John Landgraf over at FX to having them, just to giving it to me after those early auditions for Clay and Bobby, and I wasn't right for either one of those guys to come back and just give me Tig like that was none of us knew that show was going to be as big as it was. I bet you anyone, if you talk to anybody from Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or Walking Dead, like you mentioned, no one knows things are going to be that big until they become big. And then all of a sudden you can't walk down the street anymore. All of a sudden we're pulling up on our motorcycles, George, to come to work, and there's 200 fans with bodyguards like pushing them out of the way so we could come to work. I mean, and that happened just like that. And the fans were phenomenal and crazy and beautiful, and we love them all.
Well, it's very incredible to look back at that time when he had the 4 series going almost head to head with each other. It must have been a really cool crew to party with. If you guys ever had a get together after.
We didn't party one time. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. We George, where were you? Why were you not coming out with us every Friday night? I don't understand. No, we hung out, man, like a club. I mean, we really did. There was 10 of us, and we were inseparable. Dinner. I mean, TMZ would hear we were there, and we'd have bodyguards get away, let the boys enjoy their meal, and we really did stick together for those 6 months. Now, like family, when that 6 months was over of shooting, we were like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to see you. I want to but after about a month and a half, Charlie would call and go, you want to ride? Booney and I would ride. Tommy, Theo. I mean, we would just get together. Ron Perlman and I are inseparable. I mean, we would just see each other during the off season because we couldn't wait to start again. And we were all invigorated to start again. And that's the thing about TV. People, look, I never complain about my job. I think the crew has it tougher than actors. They're out in the sun all day long. Tough. In LA, it's freaking hot. So I never complain about my job ever. But I got to tell you, 6 months in the sun with those cuts and those bikes and the violence that show turned into, it screwed with a lot of us in our heads for a while. And it was nice to break away from it at the end, even though I'll never forget it.
Oh, absolutely. And plus, you hang out with your co-stars and actors and crew. It helps the chemistry on set, doesn't it?
Does, yeah. We all knew each other very well. Absolutely. We love the directors.
There was a difference between the first day and like the 5th season, because you guys were more tight knit and you guys knew more about each other and how the mannerisms work and then the cues of each person on set and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool how it all developed into an iconic series. I can say that this can go up against The Sopranos, and I could put it up on that pedestal with The Sopranos. So congratulations on that. There's a lot of awesome movies you've been part of, and I was watching Bad Blood, one of your shows on Netflix most recently, and you know what? I wished I would have came back for a 3rd season. It wasn't possible, but I got to tell you, the first couple episodes I was watching it, I was like, fuck yeah, man, this is great. I like the mafia stuff.
Come on. I mean, come on. You and I are Canadian, proud. I got Anthony LaPaglia to do that. I co-produced it with Mark Montefiore, Michael Conover's showrunner, Simon Barry, Paul Sorvino. I mean, we had so many incredible Canadian actors on the 1st and 2nd season. To do 2 seasons, first one's pretty truthful. Second one we kind of made up with some truths along the way, but made it up. Won all those awards at the end of the second season. Yeah, Mark was very, and Natalie Rodriguez over at Rogers. We tried desperately to get a third season to try and wrap it up a little bit, and it just never really happened. Last year, I took the year off I only did one movie in Fiji, Fantasy Island. That's the only thing I did last year because I really was trying hard with Mark and Michael and Natalie to get this third season of Bad Blood. And I got to tell you, it probably wasn't meant to be because the whole COVID thing has changed the whole world anyway. And we would have been in almost ready to shoot mode and it would have all got shut down this April. So I guess things happen for a reason. I mean, it's not over, but I've moved on. And I'm so proud of all the awards we won and the acclaim. And it was a huge Netflix hit. It still is. And it's Canadian. And we should be so proud of that.
Absolutely. So growing up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan Roughriders, you're a CFL fan?
Yeah. I'd show you my underwear if I could, George. They're green and white, baby. Go Riders, go.
All right, so you're obviously
no Argonaut.
No. I don't. You know what? CFL, it's off and on with me, man. And you know what? You're too
young, George. You don't get it. You're too young.
I don't get it. I don't get the 3 downs.
You're an NFL guy. You're a basketball, hockey guy. I get it.
Yeah. You're a hockey fan, obviously. Who are you cheering for?
I guess, George, are you a Leaf fan?
Yeah, my old set used to have a Leaf logo behind me, actually. So I feel sorry for myself.
I like that brick you got, but I would have liked the Leafs I love the Leafs. I'm a Red Wing fan like you mentioned earlier because Gordie Howe was born in Saskatoon. But I'm just a hockey fan, man. There's a few teams I don't like. I'm not in love with the Flyers these days. I'm not in love with the Bruins these days. I think they spit and they cheat and they're too big and they're too good. But I'm a hockey fan. And the good thing about Kim Coates, how lucky am I before the world changed? The new normal now, I don't know what it's going to be here. Hopefully we'll get back to, some normalcy in a year or whatever. But hockey for me, I was in all these cities doing my charities, doing my signings, doing my filming. And I'd pop in and see the Ducks. I'd pop in and see the Hawks. I'd pop in and see the Leafs. I'd pop in and see the Red Wings. I mean, they invited me to Joe. Finally, they've been trying to get me to Joe for like 10 years. And I could never go because of filming, whatever. And they find the head, Erin, she called me. She goes, "You understand that Joe's closing this year? You are our biggest fan." I freaking flew there. They put me up. I got to play with Draper on the ice. We passed the puck. He showed me all Stanley Cup rings. I showed him all my Tig rings. We had such fun together, and Franzen and the boys, and they gave me all their gloves, and they lost 6-0 to the Leafs that night. I mean, they couldn't even score me a goal, but the Leafs played really well, man. And
it was good. It was a good
I'll
night.
never forget.
Well, if we go back to Sons of Anarchy, one thing that stands out for you, like in this, what was your favorite storyline, you think?
My favorite storyline? Well, I don't know if I had a favorite. I'm pretty famous for saying I don't have favorites, but I do now on reflecting. When Kurt Sutter told me that the beginning of season 5, I was going to lose my daughter, and I was going to be chained like an animal in handcuffs, and she was going to be burned alive in front of me, I thought it was a really bad joke. I thought, why are you saying this shit, dude? Like, what, He goes, "No, I'm dead serious." And when I got the script, I really had to go to my across the street LA therapist buddy of mine, a couple bottles of red wine, to go over the mindset and the happenings in the body, if you can even try and grasp something like that. I have 2 beautiful daughters in real life, so I was able to draw on that internal storyline. And Rachel Miner, who played my daughter, Dawn, she's phenomenal, just phenomenal. And Harold Perrineau, who played Pope. We didn't talk all season until it was over, and then we gave each other a big hug. So much respect there. That storyline was some of the hardest shit I've ever done as an actor, I think, for sure, emotionally. But I'll never forget it. Again, I mean, what you do, the reason why you're so good at what you do, George, is you love what you do. And if it's not hard, you're not trying. If you're not stretched, you're not going to grow. I've never been afraid to fail, and that's why I don't think I ever have failed, because I'm not afraid of it at all. So that storyline was something I'll never forget.
You're not afraid of failure. So what's some advice for someone aspiring to become an actor? that you would give him?
Him or her. I mean, look, I talk to kids all the time. I'm in a very good position now with people knowing who I am, and they want my advice all the time. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You have to follow your bliss. You have to go for things. You have to, there's no rules anymore. You can be a teacher. You can have a podcast. You can be an actor. You can be a doctor. But just go for it. And if you have artistic feelings inside you, you go for it. Now, don't be in a rush to go to Toronto from Thunder Bay. Don't be in a rush to go to New York from Baltimore. Don't be in a rush to go to LA from Indiana. That's not going to work. Stay where you are. Do theater. Do improv. Take classes. You have an iPhone. I'm on an iPhone. I should have put my earbuds in. Can you hear me okay? It's too late now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, good. I have buds. I forgot all about them. I need a drink, obviously, George. Anyway, it's 5 o'clock. You know, these kids get, and your peers, join groups, sing, watch movies, write little movies and do them on your iPhone and watch yourself, because acting is not acting. You can't act. If you act, the camera's going to see it. Francis Ford Coppola, one of the greatest things he ever said to me was, and he said this a lot, I heard later, is you have to know your lines well enough to forget them. Like, you and I don't know what we're going to say right now. This is as real as it's getting. We don't know what we're going to say. That's how real it needs to be in front of the camera. You have to learn those lines and know where you're coming from internally, and then forget it. Forget it. Know them, but forget it, because then you need to listen. I'm listening to you. You're listening to me. Acting's listening. It's not acting. It's listening. And then reacting. That's what it is. I mean, Brando used to say, fuck continuity. Fuck continuity. I don't care if I was stroking the cat that way. If I don't, fuck it. You cut around it, and I understood that about Brando. He was just so alive and real and kinetic. And that's, these young kids, they think they know what method acting is. They don't have a clue. They don't have a sniff. Method acting is internalizing the work, internalizing your character. I mean, I'm about to go to work now, George. I haven't worked in 4.5 months. I mean, we're in a whole new, bubble now. And Canada's doing pretty good. I mean, better than most. I've still got a long way to go, touch wood, but, you know, I got 4 movies in a row, and the first one's going to be soon. And so I'm getting into this guy I'm about to play. And Randall O'Keefe is directing it. It's called See For Me. I've never met the man. He was supposed to do it back in March, but the COVID thing changed everything, and now they're picking it up again now because they're ready to go. All the COVID boxes have to be checked, so we're ready to go. But next time I talk to you, we'll have something to discuss, because it's a whole new normal now for filming, for the crew, for the acting, for drivers, for no craft service. So I'm excited. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm excited to see what this new normal right now is and get back to work.
How do you memorize your lines? If you have, say, 20 lines, or I don't know how many lines you get in a movie, how do you memorize them? Just repetition?
I fucking hate that question, George. I got to tell you, I do.
Oh, well, it's an honest question.
But smart guys like you ask it all the time. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, I've been acting, George, for so long now, and reading Sam Shepard and Tennessee Williams and George Bernard Shaw and Shakespeare, all the Shakespeare I've done. I mean, memorizing lines for a movie compared to playing Macbeth, or I played Johnny Rooster Byron in Jez Butterworth's masterpiece, Jerusalem, with my daughter Brenna 2 years ago. I didn't die on stage. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes long. So Mark Rylance and he's the only other guy to have done it, and now me. I met him in New York and had dinner with him, and he gave me some really nice jewels, and was so happy for me to be playing this guy. Anyway, so when you do theater, memorizing just is part of who you are, right? So memorizing's all right for me. I think most actors, Charlie Hunnam, Theo Rossi, they can, like, I'm bad. It takes me a minute. It takes me a Hollywood minute to learn shit. They got it like that. Charlie, he had so much to say in that final season. We would look at him and go, are you fucking kidding me? You learned that last night? Like, I don't know how, he had speeches after speech. And he could do that. And bad blood for me. I co-produced it. I started. It was my show. I had to learn stuff on the fly on that show. But Michael Conovis, one of the best writers I've ever worked with, bar none. He was so good at understanding that my method, my internal, I had it, but I went off a little bit. And the best directors will let the best actors do that, because then it's really real. So memorization is not really too much of a problem for me.
Well, Kim, it's been awesome. I have a question for you. We base the show around coffee and conversation. So how do you take your coffee?
Damn, coffee. Look at me. I'm an actor. I should be drinking it all day long. I don't. I have 1 cup in the morning. Super strong. Little bit of cremo, little bit of something that has some vanilla in it. Just a little bit to take the color down. A little bit, dark brown, light brown. Never light, never double, all that shit. Don't do that. But I like it strong, but only 1 cup. I'm done for the day. My heart, my brain can't take it. I'm too whacked out as it is, George. I'm like you, George. I know you. Do you drink a lot of coffee?
I try not to, but I have to, right?
Right? But you do, because you're doing this all day long. And you're thinking about it at nighttime. So you drink a cup of coffee. I know it.
Even before this interview, I'm like, I gotta wake up. I gotta have a cup of coffee.
Kim Coates is coming on. Oh no. Hey man, you're a Canadian boy. I love you, man. Thanks for having me.
I love you too, man. Thank you for coming on the show, and I hope to see you soon.
Anytime. I mean it. Let's talk. No, seriously, George, don't fuck around with this. I do a lot of these, and I do them when I want to do them, and I wanted to, talk to you. Couple months, reach out to my people again. Let's do this again, because I'll have stuff. There's COVID, incredible filming stuff going on now with different rules and regulations, and I'll have maybe some good insight. You never know.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Peace, brother. Take care, man.